What's up, everybody? Celtic Scarecrow here, back with our video. Get those 10s and 20 views. Did a few things today. Not gonna mention anything at this time, but yeah. So I did not finish start the "What if I ruled over the NBA" video, which I wanted to come out today. I'll postpone that for later. I did do a thing. I found, hooked up, the Sega Mini. That means I can play Cool Spot. I can play a lot of the old sports games that I showed you. College Hoops did not work, and neither did the NFL quarterback one. I don't know if there's something wrong with those two or not, but they did not work. But I can play Cool Spot now, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated video games out there. That will be coming maybe tomorrow on stream, on Tuesday. But enough of that with today. We are here reacting to WrestleLamia. That's just gameplay footage just played in the background. WrestleLamia's 10 gimmicks that desperately saved WWE careers. So let's get down to that. And oh yeah, Rikishi definitely falls into that category. Let's get to it.
Names in WWE history began their careers with some of the biggest names in WWE history began their careers with a lackluster gimmick, which failed to get them over. However, once this gimmick was scrapped and a fresh and often unique gimmick was presented to the fans, they would become superstars. Well, which wrestlers were they? Well, join us now as WrestleLamia looks at 10 WWE gimmick changes that saved a wrestler's career. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check us out on TikTok.
Yeah, we'll skip the TikTok one. Do all the things here and there. Really cool. I'm one subscriber away from 666. I like the number. Not the number of the beast. That's 999, but yep, one subscriber away.
Number 10, Husky Harris to Bray Wyatt.
Yes and no. Like, Bray Wyatt definitely saved Husky Harris or Wyndham. Something Wyndham. Ratoa Wyndham. That's his real name. They just couldn't let it be alone. They wouldn't leave it like, here's a good character, let's actually just give him a push. They kept screwing it over.
When Husky Harris debuted on the second season of NXT in 2010, he had no clear identity. Fans had no idea what to make of Harris, as it was unclear what his gimmick was. However, when Harris arrived back to the WWE developmental following a brief run on the main roster, he created a persona which would save his entire wrestling career. He would transform into Bray Wyatt, a cultist leader who spoke in riddles and was often compared to Max Caddy in Cape Fear, not to mention the successor to Waylon Mercy, which the character was based on. The gimmick was a huge success and eventually led to Bray forming the Wyatt family alongside Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. But when Bray joined,
God, the talent, right? This group has so much talent that they just could not use it right.
The main roster in 2013, he would become a top star in the company, eventually winning the WWE title and Universal title. In 2000,
the Wyatt Shield was a great rivalry. Probably the best WWE had in a long time.
2019, Bray once again adapted the gimmick by ditching the cult leader element and having two separate gimmicks. One
the cult leader part was the best part of the gimmick. I think that's where they screwed up.
Known as Firefly Funhouse Bray, a lovable host of a children's TV show, and The Fiend, a demonic version of Bray who was more sinister than ever before. Number 9, Fake Diesel to Kane. Before Kane made his debut on television in 1997, he had a total of 2 infamous gimmicks in WWE. One was an evil dentist known as Isaac Yankem, and the other was a fake version of Diesel. Both,
from what I've heard, Fake Diesel was not the reason why it failed. Fake Razor was the reason why it failed. Like, Kane did a good job with being Fake Diesel, the other guy didn't.
So these were career killers for Kane, and they were never going to lead him to receiving a major push in the company. Thankfully, in 1997, WWE decided they wanted to debut the brother of The Undertaker on WWE programming, and there was no better choice than Glenn Jacobs himself. Jacobs was the perfect choice, as he was able to modify the gimmick over the next 20 years and survive through multiple eras to create one of the most beloved and well-remembered characters in WWE history.
I think they slightly killed the character a little bit when they had him remove his mask. I think he lost a lot of the mystique and ambiance to the character.
Number 8, Hunter Hearst
with FanDuel every night.
Yeah, like I was saying, I think Mass Kane, like, they slowly started like humanizing him by like having him talk and all that stuff.
to Triple H. Although the Hunter Hearst Helmsley gimmick was slightly over, it definitely had a ceiling and would have never led to anything more than a mid-card run for the future WWE champion. In 1997, Triple H began to align himself with Shawn Michaels, and the two alongside Chyna would form the legendary DX stable. As part of this stable, Triple H began to drop his previous gimmick, as gone would be the foreign accent, gone would be the classy, often regal attire, and in its place would be a character full of attitude, wit, and tenacity. The gimmick change would turn Triple H into
Yeah, he went from William Regal's like protege, like a blue blood, pretty much like the rich snobby dude you'd know from like Connecticut, Massachusetts area, to the game who was more punk rock type thing.
to one of the biggest names in pro wrestling history. He would win the world title a total of 14 times during his career, making him one of the most decorated talents to ever step foot in the squared circle.
Marrying the boss' daughter probably helped out a lot too.
Number 7, the world's strongest man to the Hall of Pain. Mark Henry, for the first half of his WWE career, had a
Yeah, I blame Vince. I completely blame Vince and his ism. You put the word that goes in front of it. Why Mark Henry never got a push.
difficult time in the
Or a good push for a long time.
company. Although he was given a number of gimmicks, including sexual chocolate and a gimmick which solely revolved around his strength, none of these pushed him into main event status. Then in 2011, due to SmackDown being weak on the number of heels on the roster, WWE decided to turn Henry heel and give him a brand new character. This Henry would be bitter and angry, and he would open up his very own Hall of Pain. This saw Henry lay out
The fake retirement. That's what set the whole thing up, because everybody thought he was actually going to retire, and then he didn't.
everyone from The Big Show to Kane. Henry truly found his calling with this gimmick, as his in-ring work and promo had never been better, and eventually led to Henry capturing the world title in September 2011 when he defeated Randy Orton. Number 6, Bradshaw to JBL. The WWE had experimented with Bradshaw as a solo guy before 2004, but it never really worked, as fans always preferred seeing him team up with Farouk as part of the APA. Nevertheless, in 2004, WWE made
I hated the JBL gimmick, to be honest. I really hated it. And not like, boo, you're a heel, I don't like you. No, I'd rather not watch you at all.
concrete plans to make Bradshaw the top heel on SmackDown. They broke up the APA and gave Bradshaw a brand new gimmick. He would become John Bradshaw Layfield. He was an arrogant Texan millionaire who was a stock trading expert. The gimmick worked wonders for JBL, as fans took him seriously due to the character being so
And I do agree with Bully Ray. The clothesline from hell, his finisher you saw there, is better than Okada's Rainmaker.
convincing, especially during his feud with Eddie Guerrero. In the summer of 2004,
Yeah, he played again, actually I'm going to say here, racist Texan who didn't like foreigners angle.
they decided to pull the trigger and actually gave JBL the WWE title, and his reign would last for 280 days. Number 5, 3MB to
Insert promo from Paul Heyman. The only reason why you're champs is Triple H didn't want to work Tuesday.
the Scottish Psychopath. Drew McIntyre was once a name that WWE fans expected to be a huge star.
The Shattered Dreams entrance music is still one of the best. I don't know why they don't let him use it.
When they decided to put him in the 3MB stable alongside Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater, his career was virtually dead. The act was a complete novelty act and was never taken seriously by fans, which likely explains why Drew was released back in 2014. Drew then went on to tear on the independent scene as well as Impact Wrestling, making him one of the most sought-after talents in the world. This naturally piqued WWE's interest, and they decided to bring him back in 2017. Thankfully, the 3MB gimmick would be dropped upon Drew's return, and he would debut a new persona known as the Scottish Psychopath. The character was credible and legitimate. Drew became a serious player in the main event scene and eventually won the title by defeating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 36.
It also helps that he got jacked. Like, he was big, strong kid, then he finally grew into his frame. And I would not be surprised if he's not back on the Indies or AEW within the next year or so.
Number 4, Deacon Batista to the Animal. Deacon Batista made his first appearance on television in 2002. He would act as Reverend Devon's henchman and was presented as a generic character that clearly wasn't going to be on television for the long term. In late 2002, Deacon Batista was handpicked to be in the Evolution stable alongside Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Triple H. This would
Literally, they had somebody else in mind, and they're like, no, let's go with Batista.
Save Batista's career, as he would become one of the most popular stars of the Ruthless Aggression era. The Deacon element of his name would be dropped, and Batista would turn into the Animal. Batista would then go on to win the world title on 6 separate occasions throughout his legendary career. Number 3, the Ringmaster.
Yeah, I didn't mind Batista. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there like, oh, he's one of the greatest. I'm like, he's good. I've seen better, but he's good.
To Stone Cold Steve Austin. In 1995, WWE fans were introduced to the Ringmaster, who was managed by Ted DiBiase and would carry the $1 Million Championship. Now, the issue with this gimmick was that it failed to express any of Austin's true charisma and personality, and he needed a change. Eventually, the name and gimmick of Stone Cold Steve Austin was born, and Austin would shave his head as well as grow a goatee.
He came up with all that on his own. Watch like all the documentaries. He was like sitting there trying to like maybe like watching like the ID channel before it was the ID channel. It's like oh yeah, it would be like a serial killer, the Iceman. Pitched at WWE. They're like, all right, here's a bunch of names, and his wife said, like drink your tea before I get stone cold, and that's where he came up with it.
Austin would then go on to win the King of the Ring in 1996, which saw him deliver the infamous Austin 316 promo. Following the promo,
That's more or less thanks to the curtain call, because Diesel and Hall and Nash both were leaving. Shawn Michaels was a champ, so you couldn't punish him. Triple H was supposed to win that, but he got punished and they gave it to Triple H.
Well, Austin became the biggest name on the roster, and it wasn't before long that the entire WWE and the wrestling world revolved around Stone Cold Steve Austin. Number 2, Rocky Maivia to The Rock. Now, The Rock's initial character known as Rocky Maivia debuted in 1996, and it was universally hated by fans. It was hated so much that fans actually chanted "Die Rocky Die" at the young star. The fans wanted more than the bland babyface on the WWE roster, and if The Rock remained as Rocky Maivia, it's unlikely he would have become the major player he is today. 1 year after his debut, The Rock would turn heel, siding with the Nation of Domination. He would then ditch the Rocky Maivia persona and name, and he would begin to deliver some of the most entertaining segments of all time thanks to his natural charisma and ability to play off the crowd.
Yeah, I think the reason why they hate him back then, granted I didn't watch much back then, was he was still that cheesy 80s, early 90s gimmick character. Like, oh, here's the Islander. Like, we've seen this guy before. We want more realism. More like Stone Cold. More. And that's why he got booed and then went heel. And then heel Rock is probably the best Rock.
And number 1, generic babyface to the Doctor of Thugonomics. It was rumored in 2002 that John Cena's main roster run was going so poorly that WWE were going to release the future champion. Cena had no direction.
I think if they would have released him and he went through the indie route and maybe gone to Japan, he probably would have been a better in-ring performer and gotten to the Super Cena level quicker, but they didn't, and got thugonomics John Cena.
And he had no investable character. His gimmick consisted of him being a generic babyface, and this wasn't going to lead to any success for Cena. But this is when Cena began to introduce raps into his character, and the crowd as well as Vince McMahon absolutely loving it. Cena went from being on Velocity to working major programs on television with...
Wasn't it that he was like just freestyling on the tour bus and Stephanie overheard him? Isn't that like how that whole thing got started?
Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. Cena would turn into the Doctor of Thugonomics, and he would begin to perform a rap in relation to whoever his opponent was. It was truly special, and Cena became a massive attraction for WWE. Eventually, they decided...
He was basically the Acclaim before the Acclaim, but I think the Acclaim actually do it better.
That Cena was going to be their new top guy in the company. This was a risk that paid off, as Cena would go on to carry the entire company for the next decade. But there you have it, folks.
And I think he did more Make-A-Wish charities than anybody has ever done.
10 WWE gimmick changes that saved a wrestler's career. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
I don't know why he says it like that. Wrestling. Like, I always joke around, like, with my family, like, all right, you into wrestling or wrestling? But yeah, that's like, there's a lot of people whose gimmick change really helped them out. Not even just in WWE, like Bubba Ray Dudley to Bully Ray. I think that really helped him when he went to TNA. Uh, Captain Charisma for Christian really helped him out. Radar Superstar for Edge. Those all really helped out. But that is it. That is all I have. Those were 10 gimmicks that definitely saved careers. I don't fully agree with some of those. Like Triple H, I think all he would have been a top guy. They would just went, like I said, taking him longer. Stone Cold definitely saved it. John Cena definitely saved him. Kane, they would have found something for him. But that's it. That's all I have. I'll see you weird people later.